I can buy a Bugatti cash right now. I know, I can already see the comments. Bro's capping. It happens all the time. Millions of people. Like, are you dumb? You think it doesn't work? Are you dumb? And he'd be like, I know, but I haven't seen it yet. You're going to need to get traffic. Traffic is just eyeballs. It's attention from people. How are you gonna do that?
Can you go into the story of how you made $1 million in 1 month profit? Welcome back, everyone, to another sit down. Today, I got the boy, Sebastian Ghiorghiu.
Hello, everyone.
I appreciate you coming on. I'm looking forward to this. It's gonna be exciting. I wanted to just have him on because he's a very accomplished entrepreneur, as we all know. And before we jump into it, Seb, can you give people that maybe don't know you a quick little backstory, your upbringing, and where you're at right now?
So backstory, my parents were born and raised in a communist Romania. They immigrated here when they were like 17 and 18. And they grew up super poor. My dad, built up a business, but lost everything in 2008. And life's always just been pretty tough. Didn't have the same opportunities that a lot of people had, and struggled financially quite a bit. Got this drive to, want to become smart and want to make money so I don't put my kids through the same stress. And then, I just started looking for stuff to do on the internet, and I found some stuff that worked. And, once you open a door, many other doors open, and then you just keep walking through them. So
from that point then, how did you build that mindset needed to become the individual over the years where you're at right now?
I wish I could take more credit for building it. And I think that people on social media often probably take too much credit. But the truth is that I was just a product of the environment, mostly. I was put in really, really stressful situations as a kid. And you're not supposed to be that stressed out as a kid. You're supposed to be having fun and playing with friends and enjoying life and whatnot. And so being constantly put in stressful situations where I was having anxiety, where I was sad, where I felt shame because I didn't fit in, whatever, that kind of molded my brain and made me really, really, really just hate that more than anything. So a lot of it, I would actually give credit to just the way that I grew up. This is just how I've always been. And there's pros and cons to that as well, because I was thinking about it. And personally, I feel like what I do isn't enough. I feel like I'm not accomplished. I feel like I could be doing everything better. I feel like I haven't made that much money. I feel like not accomplished. And inside that, I don't just say that, I feel that, I really think that. But there's another self-aware part of me that can also kind of look at a bird's eye perspective and be like, okay, no, you're actually doing really well compared to people that are your age or even people that are older than you. You're very far ahead. So, you shouldn't feel that way, but I do. And I can't shake that feeling. It's kind of like a little battle where it's you're doing well and you have enough and everything's great and you did a good job. You should be proud of yourself. And also no, you haven't done very much, and there's definitely people that have done more, and you're not that accomplished and you're not that smart. And you could be working a lot harder, or you could be working a lot smarter. You could be more efficient. You could be better. So it's a constant battle. So
do you think that maybe feeling of, I don't want to say inadequacy, but that constant judgment of yourself comes from still that tough background of where you're judging yourself, judging the points where you grew up, and consistently waking up and still pushing for more when you already are way more accomplished than 99% of people ever?
Yeah. So I think for me, I think it started out as, okay, so I didn't get a whole lot of attention from my parents. So I think it started out as a way to get their attention and to win their love, right? Because I didn't get a lot of it. So, and then it started out as that. And then as I became accomplished and as I did things that made me proud of myself, as I got in good shape and made money and got a girlfriend that I love and had a great relationship and everything, as I did things that would make younger me very happy and proud of himself, then instead of it becoming a game to win my parents' approval, it became a game to make myself proud and win my own approval, because I have done good for myself and I've made myself proud, and now I don't want to let myself down, so I have to keep going.
At what point in that journey did you realize I need to stop trying to qualify for others and then take it internally and say, hey, I'm going to do it for me? At what point did you do that?
That's a good question. I would say when I was about 21 and I started doing like jujitsu, and I had a huge income surge. I made way more than I ever had because I like invested in crypto and stuff, and like all the money printing that they did, like money found its way into my hands. I would say since then, I like de-associated with that older version of myself, because I was definitely like when I was 19 and also posting content on the internet, I was very much so like insecure, and like I wanted to get girls, and I wanted people to think that I was good with girls, and I wanted people to think that I had money and stuff like that, and I wanted people to look at me. And as like once I turned 21, that slowly started to fade away. I don't think it was just one thing. I think it's a combination of a few variables that kind of like I was getting older, I was maturing, and also like I stopped feeling the need to prove myself to other people, because all I had to do was prove it to myself. Like I don't know. No, it happens gradually. I think it happens. It doesn't happen to most people. It doesn't happen to everyone. But I think it does happen to people that continually grow. Eventually, they just stop caring about other people.
Mm-hmm. I think it's important too, because so many people do get stuck in that trap. Even myself, being transparent, like a few years ago, around when I was 21, at 20 as well, you want to portray a certain look to get others' approval, and that can be very destructive if you try and go overboard, trying to make somebody out to be that you're not. And at that point, you have to take that internal look and realize, am I doing this for me or for other people? And the moment you're doing it for other people is a very compromising position to be in.
Yeah. I would say to the average person that has never like had thoughts of like these, of like that we're talking about, I would say that probably like 80 to 90% of everything that they do is not for themselves. Mm-hmm. It's or what they think or everything. Like they are mostly subconsciously run. Like they're on subconscious mode. I would probably go as far to say that. Yeah.
There's a stat: the 70% of people, 70% of Americans don't have an inner dialogue, and they're just existing off of like information that's thrown at them, and they're not thinking about it, and they're just doing what they're told.
Just like react mode, where it's just like any information you just immediately react without like thinking about it.
Yeah. So that means like 30% of Americans actually have some sort of self-dialogue, self-talk to way out of thought and say, you know what, maybe this is maybe not good for me or good for me. Yeah. Which is crazy to think.
I don't know if I believe that, because that just seems ridiculous, right? 70% of people. Yeah. I mean, I haven't traveled to every state in America and like went to all the towns and talked to people, but I have not seen that in my own life. For the most part, like it seems like people I deal with, like they would have an inner dialogue, but we also live in a nice city and in like an upper class city with like smart people. So
that's the thing, it's the environment. Yeah. Because we only really surround ourselves with people that are similar. Right. We're not going to surround ourselves with bozos.
I mean, yeah. I mean, there's definitely some people out here that are like that. I probably name you some, but yeah. But most people, I don't know. I don't think most people are like that.
I don't know, bro. That shit was crazy when I first read that. It's great. It told me that. And he pulled it up. I was like, what the fuck? I want to go more into the business side right now, because obviously you grew up in a poor background, wanting to change that because you were in so much pain of being in a shitty situation. So right now, fast forwarding a few years, you and a whole bunch of other people have this free course model. And I would like you to go into why that free course model is so powerful and how it's been able to change your life.
Yeah, it's very powerful because it's very easy to get people in. So it's a great lead magnet. And we monetize it through affiliate links and through brand deals. So, and some of those brand deals are performance-based brand deals. So we make money if people that get in the course, they use those products, like those services, like AutoDS, for example, like as a supplier, as a product research software, Shopify as the place to build your website, and then a few others, like TikTok ads, for example. We make money on an ongoing basis if they use those products. So it's a great model, especially the way we're doing it, because people would think that we're holding a lot of information back because it's a free course and people charge thousands of dollars for information that's literally worse than ours. But no, we want to give you everything because we want to give you the best odds of success, because if you use our affiliate links, we'll make the most money. So why wouldn't we give you everything? Because if more people succeed and start stores that do good, they're going to use our TikTok ads link and we get 30 or 40% of revenue. So for a period of time, not lifetime, but still, my point is that as people in the course start successful stores and make money, we make more money. So we're incentivized to give them absolutely everything. So we don't hold anything back. You know, Sebastian and Tim teach most of that course. I don't know how much Tim has done, I don't know how much Sebastian has done in revenue. I know Tim has done over 10 million in revenue in dropshipping. I've done over 7 figures. I know for a fact Sebastian has done over seven, probably multi-7. So they have more experience than I do, which is why they're teaching most of the course. But yeah, I told them, I'm like, dude, we need to give everything away. So we get a lot of people in there because it's a great lead magnet. We don't hold anything back. So it's a great course with great information. And to prove that, we can even flash this somewhere. I have a completely anonymous survey at the end where you can answer anonymously and leave your feedback. And 92% of people rate it 4 stars or higher out of 5 stars. And most, like 60% or 70% rate it 5 stars. It's like not even 1% that rate it 1 star. Most of the feedback, like I give them an option to leave comments on the course, and they'll say things like, this is great, this is better than paid information out there. Like, this is very organized, it's very clean. And so yeah, it's great. It's honestly a really great place to learn. It's easy, it's free, and it's a new way to monetize information instead of charging thousands of dollars for it.
Yeah, the entire affiliate model even changed my life too, in terms of high level, like go high level.
Yeah.
That's what I originally scaled up a little while ago. And when you're able to give people all the information they need, as well as making a profit on the back end through the affiliate links, it's a win-win for everybody.
Exactly.
Them no upfront money. And if you were to teach somebody how to do affiliate marketing now, what are the steps you would recommend they take?
Well, so affiliate marketing is a pretty big space, and I wish I could say that I knew more about it. I found success, and I know this area really well, this free course area. I know that traditional affiliate marketing is more about setting up like pages, like blog pages, or setting up content or places where people can read reviews or do something like that, and doing it through SEO and whatnot. And I've never done that, so I couldn't speak on that.
Well, if you were looking to do affiliate marketing and do something similar to the way you've done it right now, all over again, what would you do in that term? Like start a personal brand, start some sort of online content teaching people, and then just pretty much do what you're already doing.
Yeah, I mean, you could always, there's honestly so many ways you can go about it. You need to get traffic. Okay, so that's what you need to do. You need to get traffic. You need to find a specific group of people that you want to speak to. Say, for example, you love camping and you know a lot about camping. Maybe you can go on TikTok and start making TikTok videos on camping or Instagram videos on camping, and then do it that way. You know, whatever information you have or something that you're good at, the way you got to think about it is just this. You're going to need to get traffic. Traffic is just eyeballs. It's attention from people. How are you going to do that? You can pay for it or you can get it for free. So if you're a beginner, which would you rather do? You'd rather get it for free. So go post short form content on social media, on TikTok, or do it on YouTube, which is a long-term play, and it will snowball and it will be more profitable, or do it on Instagram or whatever, or try to rank websites with SEO. That still works, by the way. I know one of my friends does that and he makes really good money. So that's the way you got to think about it. It's either you're going to get traffic for free or you're going to pay for it. If you're a beginner, you probably want to get it for free. So think of all the ways you can get traffic for free, and then make content around a specific niche of stuff, and then sell affiliate stuff, talk about how great this product is, and do it that way. That's one way to do it. I mean, again, I've never done it that way. So there's definitely more people out there that know and could give a better answer, but that's how I would think about it.
The entire movement right now, I'm not sure, you've probably seen the entire UGC space for TikTok. There's so many creators, and people are just starting new TikTok pages talking about a product. And we've, like, a perfect example of this is Tabs. Like, obviously Oliver exited that stuff, but the system that he built and the way he incentivized people to make content as an affiliate completely changed the game. And now there's so many other brands and so many other companies that are doing something similar. And somebody that doesn't even have their own website is literally just recording themselves talking about a product and making thousands and thousands of dollars as an affiliate for it. So as you said, there's so many ways you can do it.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get your opinion because you've been able to do it at such a scale that most people haven't accomplished.
Yeah, well, I did it in a different way. I didn't do it with a product. I did it with information. So it's a little bit different. You don't see that as often because people like to keep information behind a paywall. So yeah, it's a little bit different. I wish I could branch out into the other sections of the affiliate world and become a better affiliate marketer, which maybe I will eventually. But there's tons of ways to make money. I even know one of my friends right now who He's 18 and, he was struggling and he tried dropshipping. It didn't work. He tried a few things. It didn't work. And he had that thought that everyone has in the beginning of their journey, which is like, they're on the fence. They're like, okay, either all these people are liars and scammers and there's actually no way to make money on the internet, or like it is real, but I don't know if I necessarily believe that. And I just don't know what to think. And until you make like your first $1,000 or you make your first like couple $1,000 and you're like, your whole world changes. You're like, wait a minute. Like I just made a couple $1,000. That's really big. That's cool. So anyway, he was on that fence for a couple of months and he would text me long things about, he's like, dude, I just don't know if it's going to work. Like I feel crazy. And I would literally like text him back and I'm like, dude, are you dumb? Like, look at me, look at my friends, look at all the people I've introduced you to. Look at all these, bro, I could tell you infinite stories of people that found ways to make money on the internet. It happens all the time, millions of people, right? Like, are you dumb? You think it doesn't work? Are you dumb? And he'd be like, I know, but I haven't seen it yet. Anyway, he went live and he was doing TikTok Shop. He went live just selling products on TikTok Shop. And he sent me a screenshot, $180 in a live stream. I'm like, okay, that's good. That's a start. I mean, whatever. You probably make that probably a little bit more working all day at a minimum wage job, but you did that on your phone. And then a couple of days goes by and he sends me another screenshot and it's like 350. Okay, there you go. Now that's actually, a respectable hourly wage at a low income job if you work all day long, but you did it from your phone at home. Yeah. Then he sends me 550. Okay, now you're making like 35, 40 an hour. So that's what nurses make. That's what people with degrees make. Then he sends me another one, 700, 800, 1100, 1500 in a day. And he just keeps going. I'm like, 1500 in a day, like not many jobs make 1500 in a day. Like you already passed them all up. And of course it's like, you got to put your pride aside and you got to sell some products and do some stuff. But that's just one story. And now his whole life changed. He's like, bro, this is real. And I'm like, I know, I've been telling you the whole time. I'm like, bro, I told you. Like, and I never even knew that people were doing that. Like I knew TikTok Shop was a thing where brands would reach out to influencers and they would sell their products and make videos and stuff, but he was doing it a different way. I didn't even know you could do that. So he found a completely new way to make money. I'm like, cool, there you go. That's another way to do it. So that's just one example. That's the most recent one.
There's endless case studies, as you said.
100%. And I told him, people. And I asked him, bro, this is the funniest part. I was like, so you made a commission, you probably made like 25, 30%. I was like, go and check your lifetime stats and see how much revenue you've made for the brands in the last month. And he looked and it was like 60,000. And I'm like, dude, if you set up a Shopify store and you got a product and you shipped it into America, you would have made 60,000, not 10,000, right? And like you have to pay for COGS, whatever, 30%, but you would have made way more money. And now he's starting to change he's like, oh, I see how it works. And I'm like, there you go. Like, yeah, welcome to the freaking club. Wait till I tell him that you can start a real brand, make real money, sell it, put that money in investments, and then make millions and millions and millions of dollars all before you're 30. Yep. And that's completely realistic and not crazy.
That's pretty much what we do.
Yeah.
So that carries perfectly to my next point. I want to know, when you first walked into a bunch of money, how are you disciplined enough to not just blow it on random stuff?
I did. I bought a GTR when I was 19. As soon as I made money, I was like, all right, let's do it. I'm buying a GTR. Yeah, bro, I did. I did spend it. And so here's how it works, at least for most people. I'm most people in this context. You have an income jump or a pay jump, and then your lifestyle inflates to meet that. So cars that were once unaccessible to you now become accessible. Of course, you're going to bite. You're going to move to a cooler place in the city with a better view. You're going to go out to dinners more often. You might even buy a nice watch, because you can, and you will. So every time that income jump happens, you're going to lifestyle inflate. Now the problem is how long are you going to stay there, right? Because there's a few things that can happen. Your income can stay the same, your income can keep growing, or your income can go down, which usually it goes down because you get comfortable. So you make a lot of money, you're like, holy crap, I've never made this much money in my life. Like, I'm good, I'm rich, like say it's like 30K a month or 20K a month, and you get a little bit more comfortable, your lifestyle, you get a BMW M4 or whatever, you start traveling to Miami, whatever. You get a little comfortable. And then you stay comfortable and you realize that like, okay, you're actually broke. So you push again, and then you go up to like 50K, 80K a month or whatever it is. And then again, your lifestyle inflates. So maybe you're buying a Huracan now, maybe you're buying a Ferrari, you can get a Rolly. You can go to really nice dinners, top of the line restaurants and do stuff, travel first class. But then you get comfortable and you go back down, and then again, your income is going to jump. So every single pay jump I've ever had in my life, my lifestyle has inflated to that point where for the last one, I bought another house and completely renovated it. I had 3 cars. I had like watches, tons of stuff, and I was spending money on clothes and just being stupid. But eventually, for me, I got to this point where I realized after this last pay jump that I just don't really care. Like the stuff that I can buy brings me less fulfillment and happiness or enjoyment or joy. Like driving the nice cars brings me less joy than if I were to just invest it and turn it into more money and like secure my future wealth better. Because I'm, like in a serious relationship, I want to get married, I want to have kids and stuff. So now it's more about my future and more about my family. I've had a lot of really cool cars. I've had cool watches as well. Not like the crazy stuff, but cool watches. I've been to the nicest restaurant countless times. And it's just like, you just stop really caring about it. Like, and you can even stop caring about it like future. So I'd like to think that even when the next income jump happens, and like, let's say I can buy like a $10 million yacht or something, or buy like a crazy beach house or something. I'd like to think that I still won't bite on that, because right now how I feel is I just don't care. Like I can still buy a better version of any car that I've ever had. Like I can go buy an F8 right now. Even a Bugatti. I can even go buy a Bugatti right now, right? And it's like, do I want to do that? I know I can already see the comments. I can already picture them. Bro's capping. Bro, I can buy a Bugatti cash right now. I put that on my mom. So like, do I go and do that? No, because is that car going to give me any joy versus just putting it somewhere and watching my wealth grow and securing my future even more? I don't think so. Like the only reason I would buy a Bugatti is to show off to the world. Like it wouldn't even be for me. Like I wouldn't even really enjoy it driving that car. Like here's how you think about it. Imagine, you got me going. Listen, whatever you do, just imagine that no one can ever know about it. Are you still going to do it? Exactly. So are you still going to buy a Bugatti? No, you're not. Like what's a better decision to do?
Ooh, I have a rebuttal to this.
Okay.
So say you went and got a Bugatti. First of all, what color would it be?
It's a very important question. So give me a second. Let me think about this. It would have to be either white or black. That's just the way I am.
Okay. So say that you get a white or black Bugatti. Okay. Do you think that you'd make that money that cost you to buy that car back in 1 year with your new attention funneling into your free course with your affiliate links?
$3.5 million.
Because my rebuttal to this is that you would have that car, use it as an attention grabber, and people would be like, holy shit, this guy's in drop shipping and he has a Bugatti.
But no one's ever going to buy that I made all my money from drop shipping and I bought it with drop shipping money. I bought a Bugatti with drop shipping money. No one would ever believe that. Ever in a million years. They'd be like, okay, how did you actually make your money? Like you spent $3.5 million on a car. Like it wasn't drop shipping.
Drop shipping and then crypto.
I mean, I could. Like that's the truth. It's like I started with drop shipping. I made a little bit of money and then I snowballed it into 5 years later, I can buy a Bugatti. Okay. Yeah, I could tell that story. Will it make me $3.5 million? I don't know. Maybe it will. I don't know. It's a good question. This leads me into another thing. And so this is another point, is that I can see and realize ways of where I can push harder and grow faster, but I almost don't want to, because I've already come pretty far, and I think this is right now, this part of my life is one of the most precious parts of my life, where I'm 20 and I'm gonna have kids soon, hopefully, and I can have all ultimate freedom and I can do whatever I want and I have all the energy. I look healthy. I'm the youngest I'll ever be, and I kind of want to like enjoy it and not care so much about making as much money as possible and working as hard as I possibly can. So that is also another outlying variable where it's like, I also just don't want to buy one and like have to like work so hard to make all the money to pay it off, to justify the purchase. and to just go crazy. Like that sounds like a lot, and it sounds overwhelming. And I honestly, I'm growing at a really nice pace as a person and financially, and I like this pace. And it could be faster, it could be slower, but I really like where I'm at, and I don't want to push it. So that's another thing that would probably hold me back from doing it.
Yeah, that makes total sense, because it was more theoretical, but if you were to actually do that, you're putting all that stress on you. Like, okay, I just shelled out $3.5–4 million on this car plus other taxes for it. Now I have to go make this money back essentially, and just be putting out more content, promoting more, all this stuff. But
exactly,
I kind of want to take it a layer deeper and go back a few moments in terms of when you mentioned the lifestyle step ups. You mentioned a good point where you come into a new level of money, and 9 times out of 10 your income's actually going to end up dropping because you're comfortable. So when you were going through these different steps in your life, at what points and how far into these like new levels of income did you realize like, okay, I took my foot off the pedal a little bit, now I got to go back to work? Were you ever aware of that right off the bat, or was it something that took you a while to realize and see your surroundings starting to change, like for the worse, because you got comfortable?
It never got to the point where I was like starting to struggle with money or anything like that, because I've always had a scarcity mindset, and I've always been like cut expenses, save more, just because of the way I grew up. I realize maybe not all people are like that. So for me, I would make a ton, my lifestyle would immediately inflate, and then I would have like all these new expenses and stuff, and I'd be like, okay, this is not good. Like this is too much. I don't want to do this. I just want to kind of cut things down and keep everything at a manageable pace. I want to keep the expenses at a manageable pace, because the thing is, if you inflate your lifestyle so much and you have all these new expenses, then that puts a lot of pressure and a lot of stress on you to keep working at like a high level. And I don't like that stress, and I don't like that pressure, like I was just saying. So I would rather decrease the expenses, decrease the overhead, and then be able to like decrease my stress as well and my pressure, and to just live a little bit more comfortably. I know some of the like alpha, whatever top G type dudes are probably not going to like that. They're going to be like, oh, buy a Lamborghini and then figure out how to like make money and pay for it.
Some guys on Twitter be talking that shit.
Oh yeah, for sure. So, and like it's an attitude. It's like a mindset. I had that attitude once, not anymore. I'm 25. I don't need to be doing all that. You know what I mean? Like I'm good. Like I'm fine. Don't worry about me. Like I don't need to buy some crazy ass stuff and then like work all day long. Like I don't want to do that. I want to practice the piano. I want to read. I want to run. I want to hang out with my girlfriend. I want to watch a movie. Like I want to enjoy life. It's fine to do that. I need to I'm trying to convince myself here. Like it's good, bro. Relax.
But okay. I like all that, because it's a refreshing perspective you don't hear a lot of these guys online talking about, because they're always like the hustle culture type. And
yeah, but a lot of these guys haven't come this far.
Exactly.
And when they get there to that level, then maybe they'll change.
Yeah.
And maybe they won't. I mean, I know that there's definitely guys out there that have way more than I do, and their attitude is the same. It's like, oh, keep working. I know people with literally like 50 million liquid right now that are my age or younger, and they still work more than I do.
I think it's the priorities too, going back to like what you care about most right now, because there's a time where you care about money the most, and there's a time where you care about fitness the most, and then relationships, etc. Right? So right now you have a heavy priority and a main priority on family and relationship. So you're kind of putting a lot of your energy in those types of things / hobbies, if that makes sense. So it makes sense to kind of pull away from things that are taking away from your priority. And then maybe down the road, as you said, you'll pivot back into focusing more on business stuff. Yeah. Because there's different seasons for everything in life.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely feel very wealthy right now, not rich. I used to feel rich when I was 21 and 19 and whatever. And I'm sure that's probably how a lot of the people that would call me out for saying what I did about not working harder would probably feel. They feel rich if they're making a good amount of money. I'm just going to assume that they have like 200K liquid and they're making like 50K a month plus. That's rich. That's not wealthy. Wealthy is more than that. Wealthy is I have time freedom. I have location freedom. I have amazing relationships with my family members. We all get along. We all love each other. We all care. I'm not insecure about things. I'm happy in a lot of different aspects. I'm physically healthy. All of those things, right? So
going back to the time then when you were like pedal to the metal, all my time is going towards making money, right? Can you go into the story of how you made $1 million in 1 month profit?
Yeah. So it was through the free course model. Basically, the free course was running. It was very profitable. It was working really well. So I came up with an idea to create a competition that would incentivize people to try dropshipping, because I know a lot of people sit on the sidelines and they have the limiting beliefs and they have like whatever the scarcity mindset, like this isn't going to work, whatever. So I created a competition or like a simulation in which they'd be incentivized to try. So by giving away $100,000 cash, all they had to do was come in and try dropshipping, just generate one order or generate $500. That was the first time. I've done this twice. So 100K the first time, 110K the second time. So by incentivizing people with money, $5,000 a piece or $25,000 to the winner, for whoever generates the most, I thought I could get a lot of attention and get a lot of people into the free course, which is a great place to learn anyway. And then they would use the affiliate links, and then it would just supercharge the whole affiliate thing. And that's exactly what it did. So we, during the peak of that, we were doing 30 to 40K a day profit every single day. The peak day was October 29th, 150K in a day, just net profit through affiliate links, which was retarded. And yeah, after my split with Seb and everyone else, and after all expenses, I still personally cleared over $1 million in the month profit. So I was like, all right, let's do it.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was sick. The thing is, the funny part about that story is that Shopify, the way that their program was set up, they had, so basically you'd get a free trial and then you'd go, you'd have to wait 14 days and then they would prompt you to pay to get the trial. And then that's when we'd get our commission. So it was a 14-day period from when somebody signed up to when we made a commission. And then, or it might have been 30 days at that. It was either 14 or 30 at that point. But right when the competition was heating up, right in the middle of it, they changed it to 3 months, from 14 days to 3 months. So like nothing, that just dropped down to like 10K a day or something. So if that wouldn't have happened, I don't know, an extra million at the absolute minimum.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple million best case scenario, but yeah.
Those numbers are so inconceivable for most people to even imagine. And like most people won't even make $1 million in their lifetime, and you did it in 30 days.
A lot of people do it in 30 days.
Yeah.
People do it every day.
Yeah. At that certain level of echelon. Yeah. But the average person, bro, not a chance, because they don't have the leverage.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's a long journey. Like I've always described it. It's when you get into business and entrepreneurship and just this realm where you don't make money from a job, and like it's free for all and it's free game and there's a lot of stuff you can do and some stuff will work really well. When you get and go into that house, which is a really, really big house, when you open the door to that house and you get started, there's an infinite amount of doors and an infinite amount of possibilities that you can do and things that you can make work. Because then you enter the space of innovation. Then you enter the space of how can I provide value to people? What can I do? And it's like all about your creativity and about what works. And like, it's like a sandbox. You can do whatever you want. And how much you make is not limitless, but I mean, there's people that make billions and billions of dollars, right? Because they do something. They figured out how to do something. So, yeah, I just think that a lot of people just don't enter that house. They just don't get the chance to. There's a lot of reasons why, it's definitely far from safe or secure. In the beginning, once you get the ball rolling, it's not. Most people get the chance. Most people don't even know the house exists. Yeah. They fight with each other whether or not it exists. And there's millions of people inside exploring.
So it's the lack of awareness and then like the limiting beliefs. Yeah. But I want to pivot a little bit into more of a faith conversation because it's something that's important to both of us. And you have an interesting journey in terms of, from what I remember hearing at least, it sounded like you walked away from God for a little bit when you were younger because you were born and raised to believe, and then you kind of went on your own way for a bit. So why did you walk away from God, and then what brought you back?
Yeah, so the reason I walked away from God, well, I never really walked away because I never really had a personal relationship with Jesus Christ or with God. I didn't know who they were, who he was. I didn't have intimate feelings. I didn't have that. I was forced to go to church and to pray, and I was forced like these habits as a child. And my My mom didn't provide me an explanation as to why we do this. I didn't ask. And it was just, I was not educated at all. And when I started getting older, when I was 17, I was like, I didn't want to go to church. And my mom would still be like, you have to go to church. And I'm like, well, I don't really want to. And she's like, no, you have to. And I'm like, well, I don't want to. And then it finally, after like a year or two of that, or whatever, however long it was, I was like, you know what? Like, I'm 17. I'm almost going to be 18. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I just want to do what I want to do, because I was just forced. It was just crammed down my throat. I didn't understand it at all. So it's hard to say that I walked away. It was more so of like, okay, I'm just going to stop doing something that I was forced to do. And I'm just going to do what I would like to do, what I want to do. And I went and I like did whatever I wanted, lived in the world and did whatever. I wasn't that bad, but I was pretty bad. And then I came back because of my girlfriend, my now girlfriend. So she brought me back. God used her as bait to bring me back to him, like literally like a hook. Yeah. And so I was at a point in my life where I was literally like climax, peak life. I was doing Muay Thai, or not Muay Thai, I was doing jiu-jitsu, and I was newfound confidence. Like I just had so much confidence. I was making more than I ever had. I was better looking than I ever was. I was getting more attention from girls, and I was just happy. Like everything was just peak life. And I had no intention on all of that stopping. But then I met this girl, and as soon as I saw her, I was like, I would do anything. This is the girl I'll marry. I'll do anything. I don't care. Like it was like a freaking lion looking at a gazelle. Like, okay, I'm locked in now. Like, I'm going to get this.
Television. You were life maxing.
Yeah.
And then,
right as that happened,
yeah.
I was just like caught on the hook. And obviously she's Christian, and she's a very good girl, very morally good girl. She was an innocent girl. She was church going and had a fear of God. And it's like, okay, it's pretty obvious that I'm going to have to switch everything up if I want to get this girl. And I knew for a fact that she would not last long. Like I had a chance. And if I waited even a little bit of time, I knew that she would instantly get scooped up and she'd be married, and that would be it. And that'd be my missed opportunity. So I was like, okay, so I got to do it. So I did it. And so she basically, because of her, I was like, okay, I got to get right. I got to get serious. So then I started learning. The way I came back to it was like, okay, I need to learn about who Jesus Christ was. Because I like Jesus, to me in my mind, was always like a God person who came to earth, but like, I don't know, it was kind of this or kind of that. Like I really barely knew anything about it, but I really needed to understand who this person was. So the best way to do that is by reading the Bible and understanding it. So I have a study Bible where obviously there's the text and then there's context. Before each book, it gives you a description of the book, and like it organizes it. It tells you when it was written, by who it was written, why it was written, who was involved in it, what was happening. It shows you on a map. So it really paints a picture of what happened. That book, that Bible, is a history book. That's something that happened 2,000 years ago. And it's written, and now we get to read it. So I went back and I read that history book, and I learned about the things that Jesus did and who he was. And I was blown away. And there's strong evidence for all of these things that the Bible talks about. There's plenty of genius people, like super smart scholars, physicists, astrophysicists, whatever. Plenty of people that look into this and look into the evidence. And this evidence is what's the word? It's like, it's historical evidence. It's as real as Julius Caesar ruling Rome, or as real as Rome existing, or as real as those things, those whatever ancient texts from Rome.
Events from back then, yeah.
Not everything, but there is evidence. There is evidence that is as credible as that. And there's multiple accounts from different people, from different backgrounds, from different walks of life, from peasants, from tax collectors, from doctors, from all of these different people. There's multiple accounts that line up and match up with what happened. So like what happened was real. This was a real thing. And that blew my mind. I was like, hold up, this was real. Like this actually happened, and that changed everything. So now because of that, I got excited, and it became very easy to read the Bible. Whereas before it was extremely hard. But now because I was interested in it, because of what happened, like it became extremely easy. Now I read it almost every single day. I read like 3 books at a time. The Bible is always one of them because it's so thick, and I'm trying to get through it, and I haven't gotten through it yet, but I'm making some really good progress. But yeah, there's some really cool stuff in there. A lot of the modern books of wisdom, they all root back to the Bible. Like a lot of the wisdom you read in self-help books, The Obstacle's the Way, Meditations, all of these different books that have like this timeless wisdom, you go read the Bible and it's there first. And that book was written before all of them. So yeah, there's some great stuff in there.
We have a very similar background in terms of the being forced to do stuff. So I was growing up Catholic. I was forced to go to CCD, if anybody knows what that is. It's basically like Catholic school, but like for after like actual school. So you study stuff, you memorize all these different prayers and stuff that I genuinely didn't care about. I was like 7, 8, 9, 10 years old doing this. My mom was the teacher for it. And then I got to the point where you were at too, where I was like, I don't want to go to church anymore. Like I grew up going every single week and just going through the motions, right? Like not really caring. Like anytime I'm there, I'm not present. I'm just thinking like, oh, I can't wait till this is over type thing.
Yeah.
And then it got to the point, I mean, you already know the story, but basically my dad got super sick and that was a bit of a wake up call. My dad got sick and he passed, and that was a bit of a wake up call for me to get into my faith more. And long story short, I spent summer of 2020 and fall of 2020 because he passed actually he got sick exactly 4 years ago right now at the time of this filming. And for like 6 months straight, I did a deep dive on Catholicism, and then I was like, this isn't for me, so I'm just going to look into Christianity. And then from there, I found my grounding, my foundation. And without that moment and without me experiencing my dad passing and all that stuff, I don't know if I would be here today with the same fundamental beliefs that I have right now. Because that was the catalyst that forced me, in your case as well, you wanted to go out of your way for your girl to learn more about it and then get excited about it and really internalize a lot of the teachings and the messaging and overall salvation as a whole. So everybody has their own unique path, and as long as you make it to the right stop, which is the truth, I think that's the only thing that matters. Whatever it takes to get you there.
Yeah, that's something I'm also really interested in, and I'm glad you said that. But I'm also really interested in discovering and following the truth. And because I've gotten more interested in that, and like now that I'm getting a little bit older, and that's really important to me, history, actually reading about history and about how everything works and the world works has been really, really interesting and fun to learn about, like just what happened and how we got to where we are today. Where I feel like, I feel like most people don't do that because that isn't in my own perspective, because I've never cared. Like history, that's like notoriously the most boring subject in school. But it's actually really, really interesting in terms of like pursuing the truth. Like you learn about how we got here, and yeah, humans were not as different as you think they were. Like 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, like we were very similar. The language has changed, the technology has changed, the mortality rate, the life expectancy has changed for the better for the most part, but we are still very similar to how we used to be, and how we act and how things unfold and how we create empires and stuff. Like it's still all very similar. In terms of you, obviously coming back to, well, now actually establishing that fundamental faith through meeting your girlfriend currently, I want to ask you, what type of man do you need to become to attract a girl that's wife quality these days? That's a hard question, because that my answer is probably going to change as I get older and go through life and become a parent, a father, a grandfather. I guess not really though, because you're just asking me about what would attract a good quality woman. You have to be solid. You have to be a solid guy, right? Like you have to be smart enough to gather resources and make some bit of money so that you can provide, so that your girl can feel safe, and so that she won't be stressed out and feel anxious about whether or not you're going to be able to buy food and provide for her. So that's like a base one. That's fundamental. You have to be kind. You have to be not nice, but you have to be kind and not brutal. Like, so there's this one thing I think about when it's like how to be a good man type questions. And it's like honesty without kindness is brutality. And I see a lot of guys that are like that, a lot of guys that are honest. And like, that's the argument. It's like, what, you can't handle the truth. It's like, you think with your emotions, I think with logic. What's more important to do? Like, I'm being honest with you. But there's a way to be honest and to be kind. And you have to do that. You can't be brutal with her, because women are gentle and delicate and they're beautiful, and that's what makes them beautiful. So you don't want to like rough them around and treat them like you treat other men, because they're not. They're different. So you have to be kind with her. You have to be gentle with her. You have to learn how to do that. And I think that in order to be able to do that, it takes you feeling confident in yourself, and it takes you, I would say just being confident in who you are as a person. Because a lot of times people have insecurities and they project those insecurities. And they will like yell at their wife or yell at their girlfriend or whatever, husband, because of their own insecurities, because of their own jealousy and whatnot. So you have to get to a place where you're emotionally and mentally stable, and you feel good about yourself, and you do the things that you promise you're going to do, and you're just proud of who you are, and you're happy as a person. And then you can be nice and kind to her and treat her well, and not project your own problems onto her, which is something I learned. I did that to my ex-girlfriend, and my ex-girlfriend did that to me. So I learned that through that relationship. So I would say that you need to be able to provide so that she doesn't have to stress or feel anxiety or think about it, because she just wants to feel safe and comfortable, and she just wants to love. I'm speaking from my own experience. My girlfriend, she doesn't want to stress out about all these different things. She just wants to be happy and love me and love our children and love the animals and the house, and get excited about things in life, about like going somewhere and seeing something new. And it's like, okay, I have to be able to do that for her.
Okay, let me ask you this question then. How do you differentiate the nice guy versus the kind guy? What are the pieces that are different from each other?
The nice guy is nice because he has no option. He has to be nice. Because if he's not nice, then there's no reason that anyone else would give their attention to him or like him or spend time with him. The kind guy is the guy that doesn't need anyone's attention or approval, or doesn't need anything from anyone. He's more than okay completely by himself, doing whatever, and he has grounds to stand on when it comes to being an asshole. For example, like, he can justifiably be an asshole because of this, because he's a world champion UFC fighter. Like, okay, like, if that guy's an asshole, I guess it's fine. Like, I understand, because he can kick anyone's ass that is here. The difference is that the person that's kind doesn't have to be nice. They choose to be nice, and they choose to do it because that's the right thing to do. That's the morally correct thing to do. You don't want to be around the guy that doesn't have to be nice to everyone and isn't nice to everyone, because I've had guys like that in high school, and they're just like stressful to be around because they're always a jerk, because they're 6'3" and 200 pounds in high school somehow. But the guy that is that and is also nice is a guy that I want to make my friend, and a guy that girls want to be around and feel safe around. Any guy that feels the need to go out and sleep with a lot of women, that debatably is insecure right on its own. But any guy that posts about it on social media and constantly talks about it is, in my opinion, 95%, 99% of the time just completely insecure. It's like, why are you posting on social media? Why? Because you want people to see you. Why do you want people to see you doing that? Because you want people to think that you are a guy that gets girls and that can sleep with a lot of girls. Right? Why do you want people to think that? Because you don't feel like you are a guy that can get a lot of girls and sleep with a lot of girls. So you force yourself to do it, and you sleep with mid girls, and you ruin them and you ruin yourself, so that you can get attention from people that don't even honestly care about you. It's like, this is a very downward, like self-reinforcing downward spiral mentally. You just don't do that. You just don't want to do that. It goes back to what I said. If you can't tell anyone, or you can't show anyone, are you still going to do it? If yes, then all right.
For somebody that's in a rut right now, what would you tell them to get out of that rut, and how should they get out of that?
You need more information on any area of your life that you're seeking to improve. You need more data on what it is you're trying to grow in. So if you're in a rut for whatever reason, you need to learn about that niche. If it's finances, you need to learn more about money and how to make money and how money works, and about all of these things. You need to learn more. Books are the best. I like to read. Books are the best source of information by far. You can also watch YouTube videos and get information from the internet, and the internet is a great place, but The internet is very loud and it's regurgitated information and it's all over the place. But books are really, really solid for a foundation of information. So if you want to get out of a rut in terms of money, freaking read books about money. And it's like the most broad, boring advice, but everyone wants that one thing that they didn't know, because secretly deep down, the way people feel is that, okay, they know something that I don't, and that's why they have the riches. And that's just complete cope. I mean, it's kind of true, but it's complete cope. They're basically saying like, they're basically creating an excuse for their own failure.
Being where you're at now, and also where you're at when you were younger, in terms of not having a lot of opportunities and being in a constant state of pain, essentially, and scarcity. Through the highs and lows, what have you walked away with and learned out of all of this?
That I can do anything that I put my mind to, I guess, would be the most important one. I think whatever it is that I want to do, I can do it. Whatever it is, even if that's becoming a world-class pianist or a professional swimmer, whatever, or becoming whatever, anything. I have amazing relationships with my wife and have a perfect family. Anything I set my mind to, I can achieve. That's what I would say I walked away with. Yeah.
And I would even take it a layer deeper and say that internal self-belief you need to have, because if you don't have that, you're not even going to be able to do any of those things.
Yeah. The limiting beliefs are just, there's no limiting beliefs.
So how did you get rid of limiting beliefs that you had?
So the way I've done it was one step at a time through breaking past a limiting belief. So for example, if you think of a chart, like, like a resistance, sometimes the chart will get rejected off a resistance, and then eventually it will break past. So there's tons and tons of limiting beliefs. The first one is there's no way I can make money on the internet. And then you make $10 and you kind of break past that limiting belief and you're like, oh, I can make money on the internet, but there's no way I can make $100, or like, there's no way I can make $100 a day. And then you do that and you're like, wait, I can make $100 a day, but there's no way I can replace my income from the job that I have. Then you do that, but there's no way that like I can make more than doctors, but then you do that. And then like, as you keep going, your mind starts to get a little bit more open and you're like, maybe I can make $1 million a year, even when you're at like, let's say 100 or 300K a year. You're like, maybe I can make $1 million, or maybe I can make $2 million a year. And you start opening up your mind, and then it just comes in waves. And then as you keep going and keep going and keep going, eventually you'll be like, okay, yeah, I could probably do anything. So Bitcoin is sitting at 67,300 right now.
What's ETH at?
3,240.
Okay. So obviously it's a big dip across the board today. I want to ask you, how have you been able to find certain projects early, or at least, let me rephrase this. What are the steps you're taking to build a thesis and then build conviction in a project or investment?
I'm not the person that finds projects early and like picks up on narratives super fast and like where the money's flowing. I'm not that person. I'm in a couple Discords with some very, very high level traders. I have some friends that are really, really high level traders, and anything I get is from them.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not my area.
Okay. Then
the only thing I would say I can touch on and know a decent amount about is asset price inflation and why Bitcoin is going up and why there's a thesis for Bitcoin to go up. There's definitely a few variables that are obvious, like the Bitcoin halving is coming up, the ETF, the money coming in from ETF, and then obviously the devaluation of the dollar and crypto as an alternative currency. So like those things, I can put together a theory as to why I think it would go up long term or down, or what would happen.
As somebody that studies macroeconomics, where do you see the world heading in general as a whole?
The whole world?
In terms of the financial system and people's livelihood of their standards of living.
All right. So I think that America right now is on an unsustainable path to implosion. And I think that the only way we can get out of it is by a miracle. And that miracle would be, we have to solve all our domestic conflicts. We all have to get along in the country. So that's the first miracle. And if we figure out how to all get along and agree and make things work, then we need to find a way to innovate and become more productive and have a surplus. Because right now we are a nation of consumers, and we need to have a surplus because we have an unsustainable debt problem that, as long as we are still in a deficit, is only going to get worse. It's only going to accelerate. So we need to all get along and figure out, hey, we need to all just agree that there's a problem and we need to fix it. And then we need to find a way to either make a lot more money and become way more productive, or spend a lot less money and live below our means. We're not going to live below our means. We're not going to get along. We're not going to figure out how to get along. And AI might save us, but that's it. Like, that's our last little beam of hope, that AI, everyone's like, okay, we're all going to bet on AI, and that's going to make everything more productive, and we're going to make tons and tons of money. Taxes are going to go up, and we're going to be fine. AI is going to be an exponential technology that just takes us to the next level, and this debt will be like nothing. It will be easy to solve once we get to that level. That could be true, but I don't know. That's speculation at that point, because I don't know how AI will evolve. I don't know nearly enough about it to make a prediction on it.
As the US keeps falling, you keep buying real estate in the US. Why is that?
Yeah, so we still have time, and I expect inflation to come back, and with inflation coming back, I expect asset price inflation to go up a lot, and I expect wealth to move, and because of the fear of inflation and the fear of the fall of the currency, or the collapse of the currency, and that fear will drive a lot of wealth into certain asset classes, and the appreciation on those asset classes will exceed inflation, and so there's a huge opportunity to make a ton of money. And I think real estate right now is one of them for the time being. I believe gold will be one of them, and I think Bitcoin will be one of them too. So it's not like next week is going to be the end of America. I still think there's time. No one can say how long. I still think there's time, more than enough time to do a couple more real estate projects and cash out. But honestly, you take it on a quarter to quarter, year to year basis, because anything can happen in the world that can accelerate this trajectory a lot. We could go to war with China next year, and that would change everything. That would change the whole thesis. So, right now I just think that things are going in a bad direction. If they keep going in this direction, they're going to print a lot more money. Inflation will come back. People will be afraid. Gold will go up. Bitcoin will eventually go up, and real estate will go up, and other things will go up as well. Other things that are not US dollars, because there's more US dollars.
You have obviously multiple properties. So do you think that real estate investment is actually worth the investment to at least multiply money?
Yeah. Definitely in a bull market, you're going to make a ton of money, especially if you're on the developmental side of it. Because, people make money buying homes and then flipping them. They make money doing that. So if you can build a house from the ground up and it's not old and it's all brand new and it's fresh and it's latest style and stuff, and you can sell it for more, you're going to make a ton of money, especially because you have to think about it like this. There are companies that build new homes, like Toll Brothers and whatever brothers. There's a lot of them are brothers or whatever. There's a lot of these companies, home building companies. They are very profitable companies. They make billions of dollars. So obviously there is a spread in the development for what you can build a house versus what the market value of the house is. There's a spread. My father, when he was in real estate, he was building in 2008. He said that you build 70 cents on the dollar. So in some cases it can be that, some cases it can be less or more, depending on how cheap you go with finishes and whatnot. But if you're not completely stupid, you're going to make a spread on that. So if you build something, it's always going to be cheaper to build it than the market value of it, especially if you get into commercial stuff where you're renting stuff out and you have contracts, and now it's guaranteed income or revenue. Then you can really start to make a lot of money. But there's a spread there. And then also, if you hire a GC to build something for you, like a building company, they're also going to take a 20 to 25 to 30% spread on everything, just on top of it. So if you can get to the point where you are building it and you're using your own connections and you're doing all of that, where you set that whole system up, there's at least a 50% margin. There could be at least a 50 to 60% spread for what you build versus the market value of that property. That's a lot of money, especially if you build it for $10 million and it's worth 30 and it takes you 3 years to do it. That's a lot of money. And it's exponential. So I like that about it because my goal is to build like G residences one day, and that will probably cost $100 million to build. But I will build it, and then I will get it rented out, and I will sell the units, or I'll do whatever it is. I haven't even decided what it's going to be, but it's going to be a very tall building, and it will instantly be worth a lot more, at least 200 million or 250 million, if all things going well in America, being saved by AI and whatever else. But yeah, so that's why there's a big market for it.
Okay. I'm glad I asked that because a lot of people, I think I saw a tweet from George Welch recently. He bought his mom a house recently, and he was kind of talking bad about real estate as an investment like vehicle, that there's so many other better ways, and there are other better ways to make money and multiply your money. But when you do have a certain amount of capital to play with, it does make sense to do something that you're doing. Yeah. And just play with that and play at a bigger level, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, what was his tweet? He said that it was just stressful and he didn't make that much money.
Yeah, he said you had to put down like a bunch of money and then to only cash for like $7 or $8 grand a month.
Yeah, so traditional real estate it's like an old school way of wealth, you know, and there's it's a long-term thing. It's definitely a long-term wealth play. And also another benefit of real estate is just the tax benefits. Yeah. There's tons and tons of tax benefits. So that's why people get into it.
So now as my last question before we wrap up here, I want you to break down 3 different tiers where somebody could be at right now and what you think they should do. So we have person 1 that is at 0 to 100K net worth. Person 2, 100K to 500K net worth. And person 3, which is about $1 million or give or take a little more. What do you think each person should be doing at each step of this journey?
All right, so you said 100K, 500K, and $1 million?
Yeah.
And that's like liquid after tax?
Correct.
You got to start a business where you got to create a source of income that is like highly scalable, even at every single level if you don't have that already. So 100K, you have to do that no matter what, because 100K isn't even enough to like start investing and like for that to be meaningful. Yeah, so at the 100K level, invest that money into business or into projects that can make you more money with a high cap, like a highly scalable project, and make more money. If you're at 500K, you want to do the exact same thing, but you might also be interested in starting to diversify it a little bit. It would probably be worth your time to get into like riskier stuff because you can afford to lose 20K here and there. So you want to get into like maybe some asymmetric bets, like some riskier assets like crypto and whatnot. You could even probably get into like stocks and real estate and whatever at that level. At $1 million, same thing that you're doing at 500K, but more and at a bigger level. Yeah, I don't see what else different you would do at $1 million versus at 500K. Yeah, probably just more investing. Once you get to millions and millions of dollars, then you want to diversify, and you want to have things that aren't correlated. And I'll explain why. And this is something that my friend Joe taught me. But so everyone's goal is to have as much at the end of the life. It's to maximize the wealth. So it's a number, right? And that number goes up, and that's like your score. It's like the scoreboard or whatever. And the goal is to have the highest score by the end of the game when you die. That's kind of the game we're all playing. So one of the best vehicles is compound growth, right? Because compound growth, if you ever do like a compound growth simulator, it's always like very insignificant in the beginning, and then at the tail end of the simulation, it's crazy. Every single year is just like way more and way more and way more growth, to the point where like the last year of your life, you might make more from your investments than like the first 15 years. So with that in mind, you want to invest as soon as possible. And you want to invest as much as possible so that compound growth can work its magic, and so that you can be, by the time it's all said and done, you're good. Now, the way to maximize the compound growth is to minimize your huge drawdowns. So if there's small wins and small losses and big wins and big losses, you just don't want to have big losses. That's it. Everything else is fine. Because what happens is, because of something called compound annual growth rate, or CAGR, if you have 100 and you make 10%, next year you have 110. And if you lose 10% next year, what do you have? 100 or 99? You have 99 because compound growth works in reverse because it's just a number. So it goes both ways. So because of that, you actually end up 2 years with less than what you started with. And that's because of you lost 10%. So what you want to do is you want to maximize your drawdowns by rebalancing your portfolio and by having exposure to different asset classes that are not correlated. So that when one thing goes up a lot, this stays stable. Or when this thing goes down a lot, this even goes up. And what happens is if in the event that that happens and when that happens, you can rebalance, which means you sell some of this and you buy more of this. And then you start back here. And then next year, this goes up and this stays stable, or this goes up a little bit or goes down a little bit. And by rebalancing and doing that, it actually has a dramatic effect on the end goal by a lot. What was the question?
That was great. I don't even remember I think I asked you.
What? Oh
like
yeah, we were
how to
talking
multiply
about what
money.
to do the million. Yeah, how to multiply it.
Yeah.
I ran a simulation with this, and I did a simple simulation, just like 20 years, $2 million. Just keep it very, very basic so that I can just whatever. And by rebalancing monthly or quarterly, I think it was monthly. Monthly had the biggest difference because there was exposure to crypto in the back test simulation. By rebalancing monthly versus never rebalancing, the end result was like you ended up with 3.2 million or something without rebalancing, and with rebalancing it was like 4.7 on a 20-year time scale with only $2 million. So imagine if it was, and not contributing anything. So imagine if it was whatever number and you contribute every single month and you rebalance every quarter or every year. Don't even think about this until like you get to at least $1 million. Imagine how much different that end number is going to be. And it's because of this that I learned, and it's because of this mindset that I have. That's the reason why I sold a lot of crypto, because I made so much money on crypto and I sold it relatively close to the top. Everyone called me a moron. If it goes up, it goes up, but I don't care because I've made 400%. So that is great. That's a lot of money. And today a lot of people are down. So right now crypto is lower than what it was when I sold it. So I'm fine. I think it will go back up, but because I'm rebalancing it and because I'm buying it and selling it, I'm de-risking in the sense of I'm limiting myself to those big losses and those big drawdowns, which is something you don't want to do. So yeah, overall in the end game, if you do it this way, you'll be way more wealthy.
Super good breakdown. I don't think I've ever heard anybody break it down like that before in terms of distributing your wealth into certain asset classes. And I even think like this too, just for crypto, because you don't want to marry your bags. You want to be able to say, hey, I'm going to cut my losses here, or I'm going to pivot profits into this, and not just be like a Bitcoin maximalist, or just be like, oh, I'm going to hold until whenever, and then you get wrecked.
Yeah.
So it's the same kind of like mindset and same kind of system in place you have.
Here's one way to think about it. If you're holding a bag and you're in a loss, just have this thought experiment. Just imagine that you don't have the bag and you have all that money in stable coins. Would you buy that asset or that crypto at the current price that it's at? Would you buy it right now? And if the answer is no, I wouldn't buy it, then you should just sell it and just move on, even if you're at a loss.
I'm going to wrap it up there. We've been going for about an hour and 20 minutes. I think we got through a lot of good stuff here. So, of course, I appreciate you. The conversation was very, very valuable. If you learned anything in this, which I'm damn sure you did, share it with a friend, and check out Sebastian's stuff. Where can people find you?
Just my YouTube channel, my Instagram, Sebastian Ghiorghiu on YouTube, SEBB on Instagram. And yeah, and if you want to find the free course or anything, I have a link tree in my Instagram bio and on my YouTube channel. The links you'll find them, or on my personal website, sebastiang.com. Yeah.
Awesome. As usual, guys, don't be motivated, stay disciplined, and I'll see you in the next video.
Sweet. Thanks, Frank.